Warning: this is a complex subject. Some knowledge of physics and engineering is needed to understand the collapse. The following CBS video shows the north face of World Trade Center 7, just before it started to collapse. The duration of this video is about 18 seconds. What it shows, if you look at the upper left corner of the building, it shows a progressive collapse beginning on the east penthouse, and then subsequently it travels along to the west penthouses and then to the whole building, which collapses down eventually out of view. So let's just take a timing of the overall collapse time.
That building number 7 was going to collapse. That appears to be what has happened now. I don't know exactly how many stories the building is, Dan, but standing at the base of it, watching it burn about an hour ago, it looked to be something on the order of 50, 60 stories, as you said, a very, very large office building.
So to recap, total collapse time was more than 14 seconds. That's observable on the video. 47 stories. Free fall would have taken about 7 seconds. So that's about half the rate of free fall. Now let's take a look at David Chandler's analysis. This is a chart that shows just a portion of the collapse. It's the time when the main parapet wall, which is the upper right in his case, starts to fall, okay, until it descends about 18 floors to this point you see here. Now this is different from the NIST points. They didn't use the right corner. They used a point closer to the midway along that parapet wall, and their calculations are 5.4 seconds from the start of that collapse to the time it gets down to 18 floors below. Now, in the time I have on this video, I can only summarize a few of the things that Chandler says on his videos. You'll have to go to his videos to look at his entire argument. And I also have provided a link here to my own annotated versions of his 2 videos with my rebuttals to his points of comparison. Let's quote from 3.6 of the NIST report, just to recap. We'll quote from David Chandler.
What can we conclude? You can draw your own conclusions, but I think it's pretty clear that the whole idea there is any kind of real 5.4 second collapse interval is a fiction. It's a crude fabrication, and the 3-stage collapse sequence is pseudoscience in the service of an ongoing cover-up.
What I'm going to show you is that the idea of the 5.4 seconds is very justifiable based on the video that we are watching, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did my measurements and what my conclusions were. First, we have to find the 18 floors from the top of the building. Using this good quality picture here, I was able to count down the floors. I'll show you how I did it. If you look at that large black band at the top of the building there, you can count down each band of floors from the very top of the building. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we know that that band there is the 4th floor. Now, I made a very high contrast version of the video. You can't really see it properly here, but it really helped me to check on that video that CBS took exactly where the floors were. And you can see that black band there, and that's the 4th floor underneath it. And then I just counted down till I got all 18 floors, okay? So it's blah, blah, blah. You go down it, 1 floor at a time. You can do this on your own as well, just to check that. And you come down to just above that other building parapet. Now, I loaded the clip into iMovie, and what I wanted to do was just scrub back and forth to look for any motion. There's 2 advantages to doing this over what David Chandler was doing. Number 1, using the motion in a quicker speed, you can actually see things moving. So we're not going just frame by frame. And you can see that on the left there, that parapet wall starts to move at the same time, approximately, pretty much, as the collapse of the mechanical penthouse that's up top. But you don't see a lot of movement on the right top corner of the building, and that's where David Chandler was measuring. The collapse occurred from east to west. That's very obvious because the east penthouse collapsed first. That's a fact. Okay, so once I've determined when the west penthouse and the parapet wall started collapsing, I wanted to find a start point and edit to the beginning of the clip. So this is what I'm doing in iMovie right here. I just got rid of that. I didn't go right to the spot. I gave a little bit of slop so I could check it. But I also wanted to look at the rest of the collapse down to the basically the 18 floors. So you may have noticed, if you look at the timeline where my pointer is and so on, that we're at about 6 seconds and 2 frames. So we're already pretty close to our final edit point for the purposes of this part of the collapse. And you may notice those two white sort of shapes. Those are stationary points, and those appear to be some reflections that are in the window of the building where this video was taken from. And I use those just to give me a handy lineup point. You'll see those on David Chandler's video as well. There's about, well, roughly 25 floors that you can't see at any time from this angle, by the way. So you can't really see what's going on there, nor can you see the damaged side of the building. This is one of the problems with relying on just the video for your analysis. Okay, I'm just showing you again at the beginning of this clip here that by about 16 or 18 frames into that clip, you can definitely see movement at the top of that penthouse, and by the way, also the parapet wall. So that establishes where movement has already taken place. Going back to the start, I'm going to run this clip down. And this is just about to that 18-story point, give or take. I'm using the frame by frame right now just to find pretty much the location. And you can see in the timeline it says 5 seconds and 14 frames. And here's the calculation for you from frames. 2997 drop frame is what we're using, times 0.4. That gives you a total of just about 12 frames. That's just about 5.4 seconds in total. There you have it.